Does that say how bad the league is at the moment? Or does it say
That's
like
how
that
uneven, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's becoming a lot like local footy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like local footy is always 2 or 3 sides that you can rest players, sub players off. You're gonna win by 200. I'm going away this weekend. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not fucking playing against them. We're gonna win by 150. Like, you can't go to Europe in the middle of the season if you play AFL. During a bye, but the AFL has sort of become a bit like local footy, where there are basically buys. And if you've been lucky enough to be given, well, Carlton got beat obviously, but if you've been lucky enough to be given West Coast and Richmond, say, twice this year, and you're a side contending for top 4, top 8, well, you basically got 4 wins. You got 4 buys.
Yeah.
So you can freshen up, rest a couple of your players who've had a tough month before. So, and we all know the draw's uneven, but them are the breaks. Well, that's what happens. Unfortunately, I don't know if Collingwood do. If it does, it's a great decision. If not, well, I think Carlton get them both twice, but so it's just the nature of the beast. But it's the inequality of the draw will be found out then and I guess the other thing is you won't really know how good the sides are. If a side sneaks into 8th, and they've had to play Melbourne, North, West Coast, and Richmond twice. They win 6 of them, and they'll have to play all the other sides once. Like, you just don't know how. Oh wait, but so it's weird. But that's unless they go to playing each side once and reduce the number of games, which will never happen because of the TV rights. It's always going to be unfair because they're not going to play each other twice because the season would go for fucking 40 weeks.
Yeah. Would you be more concerned if you're a Melbourne supporter, or would you be more concerned if you're an Eagles supporter right now?
Melbourne.
Yeah.
It's just because I think West Coast know they're in a world of hurt. I think Melbourne, there's expectations they're going to play finals and play. Well, you just look at the futures total wins. I think Melbourne was 11.5.
Yeah, pretty high.
West Coast was 3.5 or something. 4.
I think we took overs for Melbourne too.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I did. Yeah.
I did. So So, like, clearly the expectation was that they were going to dominate. Oh, not dominate, but play finals. So, to be 0-5 after that, and I'm not sure about their young kids. Like, all Melbourne's talent is their blokes. Is Oliver, Gawn, Petrarca, Viney, like May, Lever. They're they're all maybe 30 plus, maybe, or 28 above. Yeah. So that's where all their talent is. Cosy Pickett seems like he's going home. He's obviously a good player. Yeah. Like, that's about it. Where at least West Coast have got some young draft picks. Now, whether they develop or not, maybe they're in a shit system and they can't develop, or they just can't develop because they get beat by 100 every week. Who knows? But if I was to coach a side, apart from the fact that Melbourne's in Melbourne, but if it was just purely the two lists, I'd probably take West Coast.
Begrudgingly, but
you're still going to get your ass kicked. At least you got looks like
excuse.
You've got some. You got an excuse, and you're expecting to get better every week. Well, I think Melbourne, their supporters are probably expecting them to be obviously a lot more competitive. Yeah,
they've already gone. All the numbers have already dropped off for the D's, haven't they?
Yeah, so they're all gone in the snow, haven't they?
Speaking of, because you touched on it there, with the developing draft picks, I was thinking about this the other day. Like, obviously, Harley Reed's having such a terrible time. He looks quite frustrated. Media's on his back already. Mm-hmm. Is there the danger of him turning into like a Jack Watts?
Well, yeah, of course. There's danger of any of them turning into a Jack Watts or to a guy who probably doesn't fulfill his potential as number 1 draft pick. Yeah. These blokes get drafted number 1 for a reason. Yeah. Because they're obviously very, very good juniors now. That doesn't necessarily translate. A lot of recruiters sort of try and foresee the future a little bit. So, his game translates to AFL level. Like, he's big body, he can do this, he's got power. Like, once he puts weight on and does all this stuff, he blah, blah, blah. So they kind of have to do a little bit of guesswork. Yeah. They're going to translate. But, usually the best kid is going to play well. But sometimes they get found out, and sometimes they just become a good player. Sometimes they become...
Yeah. What do you expect from your number 1 draft pick? What do you reckon? 250 games All-Australian?
Yeah. You've got to be All-Australian, best and fair.
Imagine what you could be buying instead. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.